Good, rather. It's the worst days of my life. How about that?
Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I wanted to ask you, with news of the separation, how are you holding up?
Not holding up very well. I would say the other man. Maybe I'll be an example for other men, cautionary tale. Don't neglect your wife. You see how many at the airport now, flying out, as I have for 40 or for 25 years. My wife has been third, serving the community, taping my show, having fun with friends. That's what happens, guys. Never be too busy or never have too much fun beyond your life.
Didn't Judge Mathis stand in front of everyone and promise he would fight for his marriage no matter what? If that was truly his intention, then why do these stories keep surfacing about him being seen with other women as if he were single and carefree? People close to the situation say he believed a few public apologies, staged affection, and a carefully polished family man image would be enough to smooth things over. He assumed Linda would do what she had always done before, stay silent, forgive him, and protect the household. But that first divorce filing wasn't meant to scare him. It was Linda's way of making it clear that her patience had run out. According to insiders, this wasn't about one mistake or a brief lapse in judgment. Greg allegedly developed a pattern of stepping outside the marriage, apologizing afterward, and then repeating the same actions. He reportedly believed Linda would continue to tolerate the behavior to protect their reputation and shared finances. The breaking point, from what's being said, came when Linda allegedly caught him with another younger woman. She agreed to pause the divorce only after Greg promised that things would finally change. Unfortunately, those promises did not match what was happening behind the scenes. While Greg presented himself as a devoted husband in public, Linda was reportedly dealing with far more pain and disappointment in private than anyone ever realized.
Mathis Family Matters, and as you see on there, our influence is that, black families are great families, and though they're not filled with, just inner fighting.
Linda has finally reached the end of her patience, and this moment didn't happen overnight. For years, rumors followed Judge Mathis wherever he went. People whispered that whenever he traveled for work or stayed out late, he wasn't always alone. Since his career often kept him away from home, those long absences slowly raised questions that never fully went away. After nearly 4 decades together, Linda reportedly understood more than she ever admitted out loud. She knew deep down that her husband likely wasn't spending every night by himself, but she chose to look the other way. Her focus was keeping her family intact and protecting the life they built together. That silence, however, may have made Greg feel even more confident, pushing him to take bigger risks without fear of consequences. Everything changed when Linda allegedly heard rumors about a possible secret child. The idea that there could be a child out there who shared Greg's features was the final straw. That revelation reportedly caused all the pain she had buried for years to surface at once. From that point on, their relationship became a cycle of arguments, temporary peace, and separation, only to repeat again. While Greg was becoming a public figure and a recognizable name, Linda was mostly at home, raising their children and managing the household. Even Greg admitted that his success was possible because Linda handled everything behind the scenes. She believed she was supporting a man who was working hard for his family's future. Learning that he may have been unfaithful during that time, and possibly created another family, cut deeply. She had been giving her energy non-stop, acting as a wife, partner, and support system, all while believing she was respected. This situation also wasn't the first time Greg faced cheating accusations. Many still remember how aggressively he reacted when Wendy Williams suggested he was involved with other women. Instead of calmly addressing the claims, he went on the offensive and dragged her into the controversy. To many observers, that reaction didn't look like innocence. It looked like someone desperately trying to protect a secret that had already started slipping into the light.
Now, that might not be true according to you about this woman that allegedly you slept with. You allegedly got her pregnant. But listen to this. Let me draw up the skeleton, Judge, and then you fill in the meat.
Wendy, I didn't read that part. Now you making that up.
Okay, let me
Now
draw
you
up.
and WBLS about to be sued for defamation. You gonna make some stuff
Okay,
up here
Judge,
that
you
wasn't
are-
even alleged.
Okay,
now, that's called
all right.
defamation.
All right.
That's called defamation, Wendy.
Okay.
She did not allege that.
All right, look.
I'll tell you what she alleged, and it wasn't that.
All right, you tell me what she alleged,
She
Judge,
alleged
in all of your
she
anger.
alleged that I'm not angry.
Yes,
at
you
all.
are. Yes, you are. I also
Other
got
than
it.
I didn't do it.
I also
and
got
I
it
have
from
nothing
a-
to do with
I-
it, and I
listen.
don't know the woman. Never met her. Never used cocaine. Now let's talk about fueling your stuff. You, on the other hand, have admitted to being addicted to cocaine.
Absolutely.
Secondly, you continue to show symptoms of your addiction.
Okay.
Lastly,
What
I
are those
heard that you
symptoms?
were-
Tell me.
These nasal passages you keep
Yes.
coughing up.
And I did
Secondly,
Afrin, and I did
this
Afrin.
eternal cold that you continue to have.
Yes, oh,
that you
yes.
can't have to come to work because every other
Okay.
now you even stupid so low as to blame it on your baby, your newborn. How low can you get? That's about as low as you can get to blame your child for your cocaine
Judge.
addiction. Then, lastly,
Judge.
your bisexual activity. I'm sure your audience want to know about that. I've heard that rumor.
I'm sure
And
my husband would love that.
Yeah. Oh, he watches. Does he watch when you do it?
Yes, don't you know?
No, I don't know. I didn't know you were that low down. Lastly, we can continue with what I heard about all those abortions. Like 8. You had 8 abortions. That's what I heard. That's the rumor.
How
Now you want to keep
interesting.
fueling that? Did you write about that in your book?
I wrote.
There were also rumors floating around that Judge Mathis was openly spending time with Instagram models, and Linda put up with it far longer than she ever should have. People close to them say this behavior wasn't exactly hidden. In fact, it was something many in their social circle quietly knew about. That's often how things work with wealthy, high-profile couples. What looks perfect from the outside can be very different behind closed doors. So when Linda finally filed for divorce the first time, many people believed something serious must have happened. It felt like the moment when years of frustration finally boiled over. Word online is that the details Linda mentioned in her divorce filing were damaging enough to threaten the clean, polished image Judge Mathis had carefully built throughout his career. The version of him shown on television wasn't just a personality, it was a brand. And if that image cracked, his remaining career opportunities could disappear just as fast. That's why many believe Judge Mathis suddenly shifted his approach. He appeared to take responsibility, show effort, and do whatever was needed to win Linda back. For a while, it seemed to work. The couple was seen together in public again, going out to dinner and attending events. Judge Mathis didn't hesitate to let people know that everything was fine at home. Not long after, Linda officially withdrew the divorce filing. Now, allegedly, the reason she stopped the process wasn't only about love. Some claim the finances were complicated, with shared money and assets that needed careful handling. Linda wanted to be sure she would receive what she deserved before making a final decision. Others say that, like many long-term couples in the spotlight, they had an unspoken understanding. Judge Mathis could have his fun as long as he always came back home and respected certain boundaries. The problem was that those boundaries were crossed too often. Over time, Greg reportedly spent more energy on outside relationships than on his own marriage. That imbalance didn't sit well with Linda, especially after all the years she stood by him. The first divorce filing, according to people familiar with the situation, wasn't meant to end everything right away. It was a warning. A final push meant to make him slow down and prioritize his family. Unfortunately, that change didn't last. It didn't take long before old habits resurfaced. This time, Linda wasn't willing to overlook the behavior again. With Greg now retired and no longer tied to the demands of a full career, many feel there was no excuse left. If he couldn't focus on his family at this stage, then there was nothing more to wait for. That's why people are now saying it might finally be time for Linda to do what she has talked about for years. For someone who stayed quiet for so long, speaking up now shows just how deeply she has been hurt. Being embarrassed publicly, again and again, leaves scars that don't fade easily. Watching the man you supported for decades repeatedly disrespect you can change how you see everything. If Wendy Williams were still on air, she would probably have plenty to say about this situation. Linda's message now feels clear. She's done pretending. She's done protecting an image that cost her peace. At this point, she wants what she is owed and nothing less. So the real question is this: should Linda stay with a man who keeps wandering, or should she finally close the book and walk away for good? After all these years of patience, sacrifice, and silence, does he deserve another chance, or is it time for her to choose herself? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. I'll see you in the next video.